We got Will Hild coming up. I want to get to a couple of clips here, Tyler. First, though, here's Jack Keane, yesterday retired general, saying the United States is just not going to stand around if Iran attempts to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Jack Keane, let's roll that. Tyler, number one, take a listen.
The isolation they have.
Just real quick, the Strait of Hormuz, the Iranian parliament voted to close it down, to shut it. We don't know how oil price is going to be affected. And number two, it's the Ayatollah's got to sign off on this. If they in fact do that, wouldn't we reopen it? We wouldn't just stand by and let them do that, would we?
No. A couple of things. One, it's never been shut down. There's been attempts to do it.
Yeah.
And yes, the United States Navy and the United States Air Force is not going to stand around and watch them shut down the Straits of Hormuz. They're threatening this because they want international pressure put on the United States and Israel. Whoa, you got to bring this to an end. Kind of like when Israel went into Gaza, international community saying, "Oh, come on, you got to stop. You've accomplished enough." That's what they want. But one, it's doubtful whether they can achieve it. Given our presence, and if they even did it for a period of time, it would be a short period of time.
General Keane, we'll talk to you in a little while. Thanks so much for staying up with us. I appreciate it, and the country appreciates it. Meanwhile, still to come on our show.
All right, so this is an empty threat. I mean, you just can't go. Oh, they're gonna close the Straits of Hormuz. Therefore, we need to back off. Well, what? They're gonna hold us hostage? Screw them. I mean, this is such bluster nonsense. Let's get to number three here. Here's CNN, who's rooting for failure. They're rooting for us to lose. They're rooting for the uranium-enriched nuclear bomb still to be there. I kid you not. They are hoping for defeat because they hate Trump. It's unbelievable. These people are just satanic. Let's get to number three here. Take a listen to this. CNN saying, well, where's the uranium? I don't think it's there. I think this was a failure. Three, roll it.
For you, what are the biggest unanswered questions that you are looking for answers on?
I think, first and foremost, where is the enriched uranium? There are 400 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium, very close to weapons grade. Prime Minister Netanyahu was asked about it today, and he said that Israel has interesting intelligence about where this material is. There's other material of 20% enriched uranium, also hundreds of kilograms. That's, I think, the main challenge at the moment, because even though the uranium program has suffered a huge blow, still this material could be a basis for a new and rehabilitated nuclear program. And the question is, where is it? And I don't think a lot of people know, if any.
Brock, if you could just stay with us for 1 second, have you gotten any more information?
Yeah, I have a quick update on this latest barrage. Was in fact just.
They took it out. It's just unbelievable. I mean, these CNN people, MSNBC, half these news networks, think about this. They're hoping this mission failed. It's just mind-boggling. Joining us now, Will Hild. Well, thanks for being with us. We'll give our audience just a little bit of a background, who you are and what your organization is.
Certainly. I run a group called Consumers Research. We're the nation's oldest consumer protection organization. We were founded in 1929. So we have a 90-year pedigree of standing up for the consumer in the marketplace and amplifying their voice. But we've spent the last 5 or 6 years since I came on to run the organization focusing specifically on pushing back against woke capitalism, this tendency that a lot of corporations and now health systems, as we're going to talk about today, have of, instead of focusing on their consumers or their patients, focusing instead on cozying up to woke politicians and woke activists.
So a lot of people were concerned that DI and wokeism was going to seep into our military and our manufacturing of military armaments to such a degree that they'd be rendered less effective. Has that happened?
Well, I think there's no doubt when you look at the readiness ratings of our military, what's going on, the lack of standards that we've had. Now, obviously, under SecDef, HEGSAF, that is changing, but that takes time. So I think there's no question that you've seen. I have friends, for example, who were at the Naval War College, and I mean, it would blow your mind the presentations that they were having to sit through, just absolute woke insanity, DEI insanity. So yes, I do think that the military has been somewhat affected, but almost as scary as that, we've also seen this creep into our health systems. Groups like Cleveland Clinic, Henry Ford Health, the Vanderbilt Medical System, as we put out a report last week that showed that this wokeness, everything from DEI to spending tons of money on green boondoggles, trying to chase net zero, and most alarmingly, even the transing of kids, the sexual mutilation of children, has creeped into groups that used to be considered the gold standard in medicine. And so that's why we put out this report to really push back on that, to highlight these issues and say, you need to get back on focusing on medicine, not pushing woke politics.
Well, we got to get wokeism out of there. We've got to get the DEI out of there. It sounds like we've done that. But I know the Boeing, it's affected them. Like, I guess a lot of us are concerned. I mean, we saw what Pete Buttigieg did in the transportation industry. I mean, they were hiring for woke DEI instead of proper credentials, and we've seen the outcome of that. How do we eradicate this out of American hiring?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I really don't think it's going to be completely eradicated until these companies and these organizations pay a steep price for having done so. So you mentioned Boeing, for example, which is a great example of a company that got rid of their DEI department. But when you look at the press release, they reassigned everyone in the DEI department to different parts of the company. Well, I can tell you with metaphysical certainty, people who work in DEI departments don't belong inside these companies at all. They exist solely in those DEI departments to push racial grievances, to push anti-white and anti-Asian discrimination. The entire concept of DEI is illegitimate, and it's a violation of federal labor law. So when you take people who've been basically getting the organization to commit crimes and discriminate against their employees and just move them around, that's not a solution to the problem. So solving the problem is saying we should have never done this in the first place. All of these people have been let go, and we were never going to do this again.
Why did these companies spend so much money on this nonsense?
Well, I think, it was being pushed from a lot of different directions. One was the government. Obviously, you had the Biden administration, and it started under the Obama administration, pushing the DOJ, Office of Civil Rights, and other Office of Civil Rights at different departments like Department of Labor, to basically sue companies that refuse to engage in anti-white and anti-Asian discrimination. So a lot of these people put together these departments to defend themselves from that. But another huge key part to that, and this is something we've paid a lot of attention to, done a lot of work on at Consumers Research, have been the large asset managers like BlackRock. A lot of people have heard of a guy named Larry Fink, who's the CEO of that organization. He said in a public interview in 2017 that he was using all of their assets under management across every company they were invested in to push these companies to engage in race and sex-based quotas in their hiring and their promotion. He said that right on the stage. And so if you are a board of directors, or if you work at a C-suite and you see your largest single shareholder, Larry Fink, saying that, you think, man, if I want to keep my job, I better start doing what this guy wants. So that's why we've been targeting, but we've run about $5 million of ads against BlackRock, attacking them, educating consumers on how damaging they've been to corporate America and to this country.
Are you still doing ads on that?
Absolutely. It was kind of funny. BlackRock tried to float the rumor to the Wall Street Journal that we were done going after them because we hadn't done any ads in like 6 months. But it was the 6 months in the middle of the presidential race. So of course, we're not going to compete for oxygen in that space. So it was kind of funny to see them try to float this rumor, kind of wish cast that we're done with them. But absolutely not. BlackRock is fresh off voting for a whole new round of net zero targets at companies like Cracker Barrel, for example, pushing them to not only do net zero themselves, but to push it on all their suppliers, which would absolutely wreck the agriculture industry if that was applied across the economy. So 100% not. We are not done going after BlackRock until they're done harming our country.
I love what you're doing. I love that assertive attitude. Keep informing the public. We need to get those ads here on the John Fredricks Media Network, dude. I mean, we got to figure that out. I'll call you on that later. I'm sure your phone will ring and I'll be at the other end of it. Will, thanks for being with us. People want to follow you. Where do they go?
They can visit us on Twitter at Will Hild. That's WILLHILD. Or they can visit our website at consumersresearch.org. And we have a special service called Woke Alerts. You can sign up for there. It's a once-a-week text message system that targets the woke company of the week and helps educate you on how you can push back.
Wait a minute. That should be a segment on our show. Woke Alerts.
You'd love that, yeah.
Come on, man. Tell me that wouldn't be funny.
Absolutely.
Woke Alerts. All right. We'll get some worked out. Will, thanks for being with us.